Hey folks, it's week 50 of my Alphabet Options Challenge. Just a couple more weeks to go. Let's talk about what happened last week. I made $372 in premiums from a few short calls at 122 and short puts at 115. Alphabet closed the week at 119.7, and that finished right in between these two strike prices, which means my options expired out of the money. So just like the previous week, I was able to keep all the premiums. I did not have to close any of my positions. And if you watched my video over the weekend talking about my SPY options, you might have noticed that on Friday, I traded some Google options as well. So at around 8 o'clock in the morning, let's look at the 5-minute chart. This was a 0-day to expiration trade. I noticed Alphabet sort of made a double top over here and it was heading lower. So I thought maybe it would fill this gap that it left from Thursday to Friday, which led me to put in this trade here, which is to sell the 121 call, meaning as long as Alphabet closed below 121, then I would keep all the premiums. And I picked 121 as the strike as that was the previous highs for the day. And at the same time, I also bought the 120 put because at the time it was only 15 cents and that was pretty cheap for the put, especially if I'm reading the chart right and Alphabet fills this gap, then it's going to drop all the way down to 119.1. So I'm basically giving up 15 cents in order to make 90 cents. So that would be a huge return if Alphabet went down that low. Of course, now we know that by the end of Friday, Alphabet closed not quite filling the gap, but it did close at 119.7. So I was actually going to close this early, but I missed the cutoff time of 1 p.m. Pacific time. So what I had to do was just exercise my option because I already paid $15 per contract and the put I was holding is at 120 and Alphabet at that time was trading below 120. So it was in my best interest to exercise my option. So that's what I did after the market closed. And what it basically means when I exercise a put is I am now short Alphabet stock at 120. So here is what the final tally looks like from last week. Shares owned now down 400 shares because I exercised 4 contracts. Each contract is 100 shares. My average cost is 120. It's actually a little bit lower, like 119.85 because of the 15 cents that I paid per contract, but I've actually included that premium in here. So I'm not going to double count that over here. And then Google ended the week at 119.7, which means I actually have an unrealized gain of 120 because I'm short the stock, selling it for 120, and now the stock is worth less. So the lower the price of the stock goes, the more money I'm going to make from this trade. And by adding up the 120 unrealized gain plus the net premiums I earned, that is a total of $531 for week 50, which brings up my ROI a little bit, back up to 50%, which is nice. So I have 2 more weeks to get this number here to the $10,000 mark. So what about the plan for this week? Well, I do plan to buy back my 400 shares, so I'm going to close this position most likely today, because I don't want the risk of, holding negative 400 shares, because if the stock price moves up a lot, then I could lose a lot of money. Okay, the 9 EMA just crossed over the 21 on the 1-minute chart. So the trend is probably changing. I'm going to close out of my short positions.
Order filled.
Okay, so I sold at 120 and I bought it back at 119.24. Oh, I actually have to buy back another 100 shares for the challenge to break even.
Order filled.
Okay, so that's at 119.205. Where is Alphabet likely to end up by the end of this week, Friday, July 7th? Well, the bottom of this upward channel would be right here at 124. And judging by the fact that the MACD is still heading down, and it looks like it's about to cross the 0 point, and the 9 and 21 daily moving averages are also pointing down, and the stock has rejected off the 9 EMA, the green line, once, twice, 3 times, I think there's a pretty good chance it'll continue to go down. So for my short call, I'll probably put it up here at 124. And then because there is some support down here at this level, I might sell a short put at 115. So I will sell the calls first, 124, and then I'll go up to 115 and sell the put. So I will sell these together use my typical 3 quantities and try to get that filled.
Order filled.
Okay, I dropped it down to 0.23, so that's 3 filled at 23 cents each. Okay, so in terms of transactions, here are the 400 shares of Alphabet I bought back today to close my negative position. So the average price that I purchased is 119.23. And then in terms of the premiums I earned this week, basically a short strangle, 23 times 3, and then minus commission, which is 63.59. So for week 51, which is this week, I made $85 in premiums so far. If Alphabet closes the week between 115 and 124, then I will realize all of this credit. The implied volatility this week is 22. My total premiums earned is now 10,615. The shares owned, I'm back at 0 because I bought back my short position. The average cost is 119.23. This is the price that I bought the shares back. End of week market price for Google, we don't know yet. I'm going to leave that blank and fill that in for next week's update when I know the closing price this Friday. So this week I've basically turned the unrealized gain loss into a larger realized gain loss because I sold the shares for 120 and then I bought them for 119.23, which means I made 77 cents per share just over the last couple of trading days from Friday to today, which is Monday. So there's 400 shares that I bought and sold, which makes the total profit $308. Now, I did have a negative 800 realized loss from before, just from the last year of trading Alphabet, buying and selling due to my options being exercised and whatnot. So I'm going to take the 800 and subtract the gain from today, and that's going to be negative 492. And this is the realized loss from my challenge so far. And of course, taking this from negative 800 to negative 492 does help me with my overall profitability. Let's see what happens by the end of this week. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted.